Shalom, shalom, people of God. Today we want to look at this subject or issue about alcoholism. Alcohol. Goodness. Alcohol has destroyed a lot of families. Alcohol, some say it's a good thing. It takes hangover. It is a substitute of distress. It alleviates some mental health problems. I don't know about that, but all I can say is that alcohol has never built anything good. Alcohol is a drink that comes in many forms, whether be it local booze or licensed brews that are sold on off licenses, like they call them in Europe, and bars in Africa, and I don't know. Also we have wines, which are spirits, and we also have local spirits, like in Kenya they call it changa, which is brewed very quickly and with a lot of very dangerous substances. But alcohol is a substance that people take, and it completely takes your mind. It takes your ability to control not only your thinking ability but your body. It paralyzes your body because you're no longer yourself. It makes you weak. It takes your ability to think, to focus, to concentrate, to see, to have anything that you normally do or you normally use to be you. Because once it is in your system, it goes straight into your bloodstream and it changes the way you see things, the way your body works. You become intoxicated, and once that happens, then you lose control of who you are and you become somebody else. And that's why you see, unfortunately, different individuals react very differently once they take alcohol. Of course, the levels of intake will be a determining factor, or also one major factor is the type of alcohol, spirit or wine that you are taking. Depending on the concentration of that whatever you are taking, the level of intoxication will be very quick and rapid depending on the volume. Say for instance, if you are to take a beer that is only 10% alcohol or strong, then probably a lot of people can take 1, 2 or 3 cans or bottles of that. Or else there is a wine that you can take that is 90% alcohol concentrated. So even taking half a glass, you would start to lose your mind. Anyway, alcoholism is that condition that somebody finds themselves in and you are not able to do much. I have seen men crawl like chameleons. I have seen men cry like small babies. I have seen men lose their families. I have seen men lose their relationship, marriages. I have seen men cause worries and anxiety to their children, to their family, because they've become alcoholic. I have seen women lose their marriages. I've seen women stop becoming mothers because of alcohol. Alcohol is that drink. I don't know what to call it, drink or whatever it is, but alcohol is that one content that you can take that will cause you to lose what you usually or normally have. People have lost billions. People have lost in businesses. People have lost their land, their properties, their cars because of alcohol. So alcoholism is that condition that you're going to find yourself in. and that you realize that you actually cannot do without that alcohol, because your body, your mind, your system can no longer cope when you are sober. So when alcohol takes control of your system, your mind, it is in your bloodstream, it is in your vein, and then you become an alcoholic, and then it becomes a habit and a lifestyle, and you find yourself being an alcoholic. So alcoholism is that situation that an individual can find themselves in and become a dependent of alcohol. So you cannot stay without drinking alcohol. You would rather not eat. You would rather not sleep. You would rather not chill, but drink alcohol. You would rather not be with your friends, be with your family, be with your wife, your husband. You would rather not be with your children. You would rather not go to work, but go to a quick place where you can get a few glasses, a few bottles, a few cans of alcohol and drink to quench that insatiable thirst that comes strongly in your system, because your blood is now fused in with alcohol that now has become something that your system cannot cope without. So usually when people that are alcoholic don't have a drink, they don't do very well. And that is why you see a lot of people will end up in rehab to make sure that they start the process of what we call detoxification. People who work in those places, rehab centers, they have to start working with you to remove that alcohol content that is in your system. They now have to start a process of detoxicating your system, removing all that content, removing all those filthiness, dirtiness, all these different brews that you've been taking. They have to start removing them from your system. And that doesn't take 1 week. It doesn't take a month. Depending on your system, depending on who you are, depending on how you eat. Because a lot of people, when they become alcoholic, they don't eat anymore. All they do is just drink alcohol and eat very less, and their body becomes very weak, their immune system becomes very weak, and all of a sudden they grow very thin, and that's how they die very quickly. Or they become crazy and they have mental health problems, they have very serious health problems, and that's it. Their life is downhill from there. So what rehab people do is to come and try and rescue you before you die. And they would start then to help you come out of alcoholism. This is how bad alcoholism is. They can't just stop it just like that. Somebody that is addict of drugs or alcohol, including other addictions, because addiction is addiction. Any addiction is bad. Now with alcoholism, they just will not bring you today to a rehab and cut the alcohol out. You will die. You will soon die, even before you have a day or two in that rehab center. They have to reduce the level of alcohol that you've been taking. If you are taking like 5 bottles in a week, they would start to bring that down to 3. They will go down to 2. They will go down to 1. They will go to half a bottle, have a pint, whatever it is, and then eventually they will bring you out, because your system have to be tuned in again on how it needs to start working without being dependent on alcohol. Alcohol has paralyzed. Alcohol has made children to become fatherless. Alcohol has made children to become motherless, parentless. Children have become orphans because of alcohol. There's a lot of people that have lost all sorts of things because of alcohol. If I was to ask you as a mother and as a father and as an individual yourself, stay away from alcohol. I know there's a lot of people that will say, oh yeah, Jeff, whatever, I can deal with it, I can cope with it. Alcohol is not bad. It depends on who is drinking the alcohol. Tell you what, I'm not disputing what you're saying, but that's how people do. A lot of people cannot control themselves. A lot of people would say, oh, I'm just going to have a pint. I'm just going to have a glass. I'm just going to have 1 bottle. But then they are in the mix of their friends. You have one bottle, then you have another friend say, oh, I'll buy you another one. Oh, come on, you chicken out. Oh, come on, just do. The next minute you get to know you wanted to just have one glass. You wanted to have only one can, but now you are having the fifth one. That's how it starts. Because you realize that alcoholism also comes with what we call different types of friendship. People who are alcoholic, you would never, most time they don't start this habit alone. You are in a company of people who start to drink. You are in a company of people who start to do gambling, who start to do drugs and all of it. So it's very hard, because first and foremost, for you to find alcohol, you will need to go to places where alcohol is sold. And for people who don't have a lot of money, especially those who don't have a lot of money, they can buy wines and they can drink from, in the comfort of their own house. They go to what we call pubs, or they go to local brewing places. And some of those people that, especially in the local area, and the people who don't have money, they have very few coins. They go into some crazy places where they brew local brews that literally you have a small cup like this and you are gone for 2 days. It's not different from people who inject drugs or who inhale things in their veins and in their system so that they can become drunk. So tafadhalini, please stay away from alcohol. You cannot tell me that you can control your alcohol, because I tell you what, it would be good for you to stay away from it. Why would you want to put yourself into a place whereby you're going to struggle after some times? I know I may have people throw stones here, say, oh, I've been drinking for 20 years, but I've never lost control. I've never lost my business. I've never lost my marriage, my relationship, my children, my wife. Fair enough, you probably are one in a million. But most people who start drinking, most people who start having alcohol don't end up well. So alcoholism, if you are that 1 or 2 or 5% of the individuals who are able to drink alcohol, and you have the ability to control yourself, you have the ability to only drink 1 glass of wine, whatever, after your dinner you like to have a glass, that's okay, that's okay. If you are able to manage whatever you are doing, if it is you and your family, you drink a little bit Lambrisco here, Lambrini, whatever, for even the Bible, they say, a little for your ingestion, for your ailment, but people take it to the next level. But unfortunately, as bad as this sounds, most people are not able to control themselves once they get into alcoholism. Before you become an alcoholic, you will start drinking a few bottles, a few glasses, a few cans, and you start drinking alcohol. And before you know, you're no longer drinking alcohol, you have now become alcoholic. It's a process from alcohol to becoming an alcoholic. It doesn't happen in one day. It happens in, a certain time. It can be months, it can be years, it can be decades of you drinking. But I tell you what, it is very easy to become an alcoholic. It is very, very hard to defeat alcoholism, because you have to go through what we call intense therapy. You have to go through what we call intense detoxification to ensure that the whole alcohol is removed from your system. That is not easy, because you will have to be in places that call rehab. You will have to be separated from your family, from people. You will have to be confined in some places where you cannot find alcohol. And that is not what man is created for. Man is created as a social being. When you are confined into a place where you can only see a certain people, or you can only see yourself there, that's the same thing. Why do you think people that go to prison for a long time, they come up with mental health problems? It's because human beings were created to be social beings. So when you're put in solitary confinement, when you're put in isolation, it doesn't work very well with the human mind. It doesn't work very well. So alcoholism is a condition that I would pray for everyone to stay away from. Stay away from alcohol. It has destroyed many families. It has destroyed many lives It has caused children to become orphans. It has caused families to be separated. It has destroyed relationships. It has destroyed big potential companies that would have become great. Alcoholism has ruined a lot of lives. So if I were you and your husband or your wife likes to drink, pray for them, support them, love them, and help them to stay away from alcohol. Because you start to drink one glass, one bottle, one can, but before you know it, you have become an alcoholic. It's not different from drugs. You start sneezing one drink, you start injecting one, syringe. Before you know it, you become an alcoholic. You become a drug addict. You become a sex addict. You become a food addict. It's the same thing. Gluttony. People who eat, and they cannot stop eating. It's the same thing. So people of God, I pray that you be okay. I pray that you and your family are okay. And I pray that if anyone in your family are suffering from alcoholism, I pray that God, who is able to do all things but fail, can come and manifest himself into your life, that your families and your beloved and your friends will be removed from that condition of alcoholism. In Jesus' name, amen. You need to support them. It is not easy to defeat alcoholism. Stay away from it if you can. I'll see you in my next video.